Okay, well, welcome to this week's Wednesday webinar. This week's webinar is Social Media Tools for Educators, and I'm Molly Aschoff, and I will be hosting this week's webinar. Some of the tools I'm going to focus most on in this webinar is Twitter and Tweetdeck. I'm going to have a few mentions about Facebook. And there's also several links in this webinar. And so when we post the recording to the Wednesday webinars on the ESU 8 webpage, then I will also post the PowerPoint, so then you can access those links. So first, I want to take you out to a quick little video on what is Twitter. And I practice and practice to make this transition out to my web browser go well, but I never know. Go full screen here.
Wow, Twitter in 60 seconds. Okay, here we go. Why Twitter? Well, imagine sitting around in a large room in which everyone in the room is an educator, and you're all busy reading articles, surfing for resources, blogging, and so on. And when you find something of interest, you stand up and shout it, just read this great article about web filters, or found this cool site for third graders. Then someone else stands up to say, perfect, I can use this article, or wonderful, can't wait to share this with my teachers. That's Twitter. The conversations that go on make up what's called a Twitter stream, the stream of conversation. It's my personal professional development. I've learned more from my Twitter friends than I have in a lot of grad courses I've taken. Quick story. I wanted to connect my social studies teacher with one in Vietnam. I put it out on Twitter. 30 minutes later, I had my connection. Incredible. Here's a Twitter tip. Use TweetDeck. You will love it.
All right. We'll talk about all the things in there that he talked about. Get my screen back here.
Tell me you got some good news for me, my brother.
Oh, hang on. Sorry about that. I didn't quit out of the video. Technical error. Okay, so I will talk about Twitter and I will talk about TweetDeck because I agree with him. There's so much you can learn by being on Twitter, but the easiest way to manage that is through TweetDeck. And it's a personal preference, but I would agree with him wholeheartedly on that. All right, so that was Twitter in 60 seconds. Why would you use Twitter? As educators, you know, when Twitter first came out, you're thinking, why would I care when someone ate a sandwich or when someone decided to go take a nap? You know, those mundane things that people would post. Well, since I've been on Twitter, it's never been like that. Maybe it was when it started, and maybe it depends on who you follow. Maybe some people still do. Just post everything they're doing. But because of the network of people that I'm following, it's a very professional network. And I don't get posts like that. Most of them, as you see when we get out to my TweetDeck and to my Twitter, you'll see that people are posting links to resources. They are promoting conferences or promoting learning in some way. It's all very, very professional. So my first impression of Twitter was a waste of my time because I didn't want to know those things, but it's not the case. And I will talk about Facebook a little bit at the end, but it's different from Facebook because you only get 140 characters, so it's really hard to vent your woes of the day or to publicize all your political thoughts and things that sometimes happens on Facebook that we get tired of hearing about. Because you have to be so precise, it's hard to do that on Twitter. And so I promote Twitter. I think it's a great tool, and especially a great professional learning tool for educators. So some of the things you can do, I've already mentioned, share resources. You can participate in real-time online PD, and I'm going to show you that, and there's actually some happening tonight that maybe you can participate in. I think that you would really learn a lot from that, and I'll show you that when I get to that point. Also, you can communicate with parents and your patrons, maybe send messages about dismissal times, when students are leaving for games, what time track meets start, those kind of things. And parents can just follow that school Twitter account and get those updates. It's a great way to engage students in learning. Also, you can have students use it. You could have a class hashtag or a class account, and students can post to it. You have to be very precise, 140 characters, so if kids are answering a question, they have to really think about it and be very direct in their answers. So it's a great tool that way to engage students. And I would guess that 100% of your students have Twitter accounts if you are in the junior high to high school level of kids. You can establish learning partners. You saw in the video that the guy wanted to connect with someone in Vietnam, and within 30 minutes he had that because he posted that out on Twitter. So it's a great way to build partnerships. You can reach an extended network. Right now, if I have questions without my Twitter and my networking, I could ask the people in my building, in my office. Maybe I know someone down the road that I could ask. But this way, I can put it out there and it goes global. And that's a great thing. I can get answers or help or learn from people all over the world. And you can also get updates from educational organizations. You can just, depends on who you decide to follow. All right, to get started, what you'll want to do is go to twitter.com and create a free account. If you already have an account, that's great. Hopefully you can start using it more. If you haven't created an account, there's a few things. You start by creating a username, and it always starts with the @sign. And I would suggest making it something that people can search you by or identify you. Mine is just @Molly Aschoff. I could have used @MAschoff, that's my email, or you could use something like @TechTeacher or @PE Teacher. Or maybe something with your school. I could have used the @Molly ESU8 or something to identify where I work, but people would be able to identify who I am. Then you have to create a password, and it needs to be 6 characters or more, typical password. And then you create your profile. I highly suggest putting a picture. If you don't put a picture, you're an egg. It just puts an egg there. And I think it's just a lot more professional if you have a picture. And I like to know who I'm talking to. I like an actual picture so I can make that correlation in my mind of who it is. Some people use something that represents them. And you'll see when I get out there, a lot of times a business, if they have an icon or something, they'll put that up there. And then it'll talk about what your passions are. A little bit place to describe you. And I would really suggest this. It's not a lot about you, but I tend to look at that when I'm going to follow someone or someone's following me and I decide whether I want to follow them. Are they, in the tech field maybe? They're in education. If they're just a business, probably not. I actually have a lot of Concordia students starting to follow me, and so it must be for a class project or something that they're on Twitter and learning how to use it in the educational realm. I think that's great, but they put in their description a Concordia student in elementary education or whatever. So what does that look like once you've created that account? It will look like this or something like this. See here I have a picture. You can put a background picture up here. You can, over here, oops, lost my little deal, are my passions I was just telling you about. I just put in distance learning, video conferencing, blended learning, technology and education. Then I did some personal, gardening, sports, Huskers, put where I work, and it shows when I joined. Now this is twitter.com on the computer, what it would look like. These are called our tweets over here. This is that stream, and I can't scroll down because this is just a screenshot, but when I go to the live one, I'll scroll down. This is called the stream, and it's a live stream. This was, I took this snapshot several days ago when I was creating this. But this is basically what twitter.com would look like. Shows I've had 374 tweets, 389 following me, or I'm following. This is the followers I have. I read somewhere they said, well, that should, try and even that out. I don't look at it till I just looked at it now. It's not that big of a deal to me. But that's what it'll look like when you create it. Now, when I go out to the internet here in a little bit, I will show you different ways that you can access that from the computer. You can also get the mobile device on your smartphones or your Droids or your iPads, and it looks kind of similar to one of the apps I'm going to show you once I get out to the internet or when I share my screen again. Now, the other platform I talked about was Tweetdeck. So first you have to start by creating a Twitter account. Then, you can't see from here, so I'll go on. So then I would suggest you create Tweetdeck. And maybe you want to play with Twitter, just the account for a little while that way. But I'm going to show you what Tweetdeck looks like and why I think that it's a great thing to do, to create it. And all you have to do is go to this tweetdeck.twitter.com and you use that same Twitter username and login that you just created on Twitter. And so, and of course I check remember me and I log in, and as long as I'm on my same computer, I don't have to log in each time. So what Tweetdeck is going to do, I'll show you here, is you can put several streams into one spot. If you remember back here on Twitter, I just have the one stream here, the one video or the one tweet stream. But here on Tweetdeck, I have several, lost my arrow, several streams going, and I'll explain those here in a bit. So Tweetdeck basically just works on a computer. There are other apps that do similar things for your iPhone or your iPads, but because of the size, I just go to plain old Twitter app on my devices, and I just use Tweetdeck when I'm on the computer. What Tweetdeck is going to do is, here's that home feed. There's that Twitter feed that was on my regular Twitter account. But this is where the learning happens when you get into these other columns. Here I'm following people that post things about blended learning. And then here's one on digital citizenship. And you'll see that sometimes they have like a website like this right here. And I can click on that, it'll take me to the site, and I get valuable resources. And then I'm going to talk about this Nebraska Ed Chat that is the ongoing live professional development they were talking about. And what that is a live chat. So at 8 o'clock on Wednesday nights, you pull up your Tweetdeck account, and I'll show you when I get out live how to create a column. And you have a column here that is the Nebraska Ed Chat. At 8 o'clock, they're going to ask you to introduce yourself and to basically sign in. So all I would do is put out a tweet, this is Molly Aschoff. I'm the distance learning coordinator at ESU 8. And then someone is the moderator, and they're going to start asking questions. And I'll show you that on the live stream. And then everybody answers them, and it's like a collaboration. You get to hear what other people are doing. Last week's was, maybe it was 2 weeks ago, last week was on Karen Hawsey talked about digital citizenship. and Karen Hawsey is the state education lawyer. And so she had some great questions out there, and it was a great ed chat.
It's 4 o'clock.
Oh, okay, 15 minutes left. I go faster. Here is just a couple things you can watch. So you can just go and watch those different columns and never have to ever tweet, but you can gain a lot of knowledge that way. That'd be the first step. Even the Nebraska Ed Chat, maybe the first time, just watch, see how it works, and then decide whether you want to participate. You could talk, you can respond to others, you can start participating, or you can produce. You can go out there and find information, put it out there. You could start your own ed chat. You could use an ed chat for a class. So there's a lot of different things you could do with Twitter. This, I'm going to go fast. It just kind of explains who can see what on Twitter. And I'm going to go past that. I have a whole list of resources here. And this is why I'm going to link the PowerPoint with the recording so that you can access those. And I think I'm ready to take you out to my actual web page. So give me just a second, and then hopefully that will load. All right, so here I'm going to show you one thing before I make that full screen for you. Down here are my different apps, and this is a Twitter app. So it's not really out on the internet. I mean, it is, but it's not. I'm not going to it through my web browser. It's just an app. And this is what it would look like on your phone or on your iPad. And it's just the single stream. So I wanted to show you that. And now this is at twitter.com. Just right up here you can see that I'm at twitter.com. And we kind of seen this already. If you're here and you want to write a tweet, you can do two things. You can come up here to where it says tweet. Somehow I have managed to lose my little green arrow. But so I click the tweet up here and I can write a tweet. You have 140 characters. And right here's the number 140, and it'll count down as you type so you know how much you have left. You can also add photos. We'll look at some that have done that. So if I said, a great time in my Wednesday webinar. I'm going to put at ESU 8. Here's ours. And learning about, and I'm going to use a hashtag Twitter. All right, the difference. At means it's like you're talking to someone personally. That's their name. At ESU 8, that's our name. At Molly Aschoff. Hashtag Twitter just means it's like a tag. I'm tagging it that this is what we're talking about. So hashtag Twitter isn't necessarily a direct message to anyone. Where the at sign, you're directly speaking to them. So I'm going to tweet it. Oh, and I forgot. I was at 66. I had 66 characters left, so I could have went longer. So here is our tweet. If I scroll down, here is one that has pictures. And so you can just upload a picture that way, just from that little camera. When you tweet, you add a photo, and I can take the photo if you're on a device that has that, or I can go find it from my camera roll or my laptop. All right, so that's the Twitter at twitter.com. So once I've created that, I suggest creating a Tweetdeck account with that same twitter.com. And some people say, oh, this is way too much. And I agree. I have too many columns right now if you scroll over. And I'll show you how, I left them so I can show you how to get rid of some if you want. But always have my home column. This is that Twitter feed, that Twitter stream that's live coming in. And then over here I have things I'm following, the blended learning. Anytime someone uses the hashtag blended learning, it will show up in this column. And that's how I have my professional development. I look at that. Here there's a website I can go right to. Sometimes they post infographics. So it's a great way to get learning information. And there's places in those resources that show you what hashtags to follow. Like if I'm a PE teacher, I should follow these certain hashtags and things like that. If you don't know, just search. All right, so I'm teaching art. So I want to see, is there anything out there? Hashtag art. All right, well, there are several. And so maybe I like just this hashtag art. Maybe I'm going to go back to elementary. Not one. How about school art? Nope. All right, so we'll just go with art for now. And I click on it and I say, oh, okay, so here's poetry, music, art. Looks like they might have some resources. So if I click down here and put add column, then it's going to go clear to the end, but there's that art column. And if I ever want to get rid of some of my columns, like that I need to, if I click on those little back and forth circle and lines here, I just click the remove and it's gone. All right, back over here to this Nebraska Ed chat. I wanted to talk a little bit about that again. That happens every Wednesday night at 8. It's Nebraska Educational Chat. So anybody say Nebraska with education can be a part of it. So looking at it, I've scrolled down to last week's and see if I can see where they're starting a question. These are all answers. Here it goes. So right here, Karen Hawsey, is asking question 6. So the question was, Nebraska law now requires schools to draft a collaborative plan to address barriers to attendance. Ideas to include in this plan. So then, here's the answer. Well, this guy's a little slow. He's answering 5, but here's answer 6. He just puts A for answer 6. Parents providing input on what we can do to help their times for improvement. And you have to put in that hashtag Nebraska Ed Chat or it won't show up in this column. So there's not an @ in this. It's just the hashtag Nebraska Ed Chat. And if you wanted to, some of them do @ here, this guy is commenting back on someone else's post. So he put @ Sarah Lynn Bird. I was able to participate in PD at gym night last year. Completely worth it. Nebraska Ed Chat. So my suggestion tonight is to follow this Nebraska Ed Chat. See how the questions, the answers flow. See how it's a conversation. And then I would encourage you to participate in the future. Now you're like, these are pretty general. They usually have a theme of what they're talking about. Now you say, well, I'm the ag teacher and I don't know. Well, find an ag chat. And I have a resource that has all the different chats listed. And so follow that chat. Here, there's another chat here. Here's a blend chat for Blend Ed. Here's a library chat with my media specialist role. I like to follow that. And I can't remember when they meet. There's a business chat. Here's an ed tech chat that meet like at 3 o'clock. Maybe Mondays or Tuesdays. But so there's just a lot of different information you can get from Twitter. Now, if you looked here, and if I'm kind of scrolling really fast, but if I go back to my main feed, if you looked through these, they probably all have to do with education, leadership. Somebody earlier today was touring the school in Joplin, Missouri, their brand new school they just opened this fall after their tornado a few years ago. And they were posting pictures of some of the cool, it's been way earlier in the afternoon, I can't find them. Cool things that the school was doing. Their personalized learning spaces and flexible learning spaces. So um, just so much out there that you can learn from Twitter. Before I run out of time, I want to just talk about those resources on that last page of the PowerPoint. The first one is Twitter for Educators, a Beginner's Guide. This is excellent. It's a downloadable PDF. It talks about the lingo. Well, first it walks you through how to set up your Twitter account. Really very good graphics, so it's a great place if you can't remember. You don't want to listen to me again. Just check this out. Finding people to follow. Oh, that's something I didn't show you, how to follow someone. Let's go back really quick to that. Either on Twitter or Tweetdeck. Let's see if I can find someone that I don't typically follow. Oh, well, any of these people, I don't know them. So I'm just going to look at Jacob Hansen here. So this is where I talked about looking at your description. I use this. PR with Panachi is a premier public relations and modern day storytelling firm in the K-20 educational industry. Let's Make You Famous out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Probably not someone I would follow. However, I know that Marcia Kish is big into blend ed. She's following. Gaggle is really good on digital citizenship. They're following. So he might be a great follow. So I would just click the follow button and I'm following him. He doesn't have to follow me. That is one thing I would say. If I use the same account, personal and professional, and I mostly follow people, it's mostly professional. I might, I'm going here on a vacation in a week to Australia. I might post some pictures on it. So it's kind of personal, but still it's not anything that is, like I'm taking a nap now. So one thing I would suggest though is talk to your school and see if they have a policy. Maybe similar to a Facebook policy, whether you should follow students or allow students to be your friends. Couple things. Students can follow you and you don't have to follow them. And that's probably what I would suggest. If you have a school page, or like my @ESU, and students can still post to that if it's maybe your classroom blog or something, students can still post to that, but you don't necessarily have to follow them. And since students might be using it on more of a personal nature and still want to comment on school stuff, I would maybe visit with your administrator on that, but I probably wouldn't. I don't make it a habit, even on my Facebook or anything, to follow or be friends with anyone who's not out of high school yet. That's kind of where I set my line. I have a few family members with the exception there, but that's kind of been always my rule when I was teaching too. And funny thing, once they all graduated, none of them cared about being my friend anyway. So it was just one of those things that I would think about before you just start accepting or following all your students. You might learn more than you want to know. All right, so here's another resource. I like this one. It's a wiki, Twitter for Teachers, but it goes through the different curriculum areas and helps you find either people to follow or ed chats. So let's look at it. Here's some math teacher ones. I'm going to click on that one. All right, so here are some different ones that you might want to follow. Here's Scott Hasselwood. He's a high school pre-calculus and calculus teacher using the FLIP model in Edmond, Oklahoma. I'd be all over that one. I think he could give me some great resources to be a great follow. So that's what these are. See if they have any education or chats. There's a lot of people there. Don't see any chats listed. However, I'm going to go back to one and show you. I was at earlier, I went to early childhood. and looked at it, and they had some, oh, maybe not. It was, oh yeah, here's, check out the ECE, Early Childhood Education Tech Chat. And that's my timer. And check that one out, if you're an early childhood teacher. So they might list some chats. I will let you go through these. I love this Twitter cheat sheet. Can't say that. There are some different chat groups here, people to follow, 50 ways to use Twitter in your classroom. And then the last one is the official listing of chats. So you can search it and look for different things, different days of the week, their time. If I do a Command F and look for that Nebraska Ed Chat that I'm talking about, Nebraska Ed Chat, it's weekly on Wednesdays, and I think it gives the time right over here, and it's 8 p.m. Central Time. I have to go back up. I'm sure that's, yeah, 8 p.m. Central Time. So I am over my time just a little bit. If you have any questions on Twitter or you would like me to help walk you through that slower, just send me an email, let me know, and look for the recording and the post of the PowerPoint probably tomorrow. And I did talk just a little bit about Facebook. Facebook, you can promote your organization, and it's a good communication for parents. A lot of parents are on Facebook. You can link your Twitter and your Facebook. So if you post it on Twitter, it also posts on Facebook. And for a school, I would do that. But I do not see Facebook being used as a professional development and a place to share resources among educators like I do Twitter, and you can see from the Tweetdeck there. So thanks for participating, and let me go back and see, figure out how to do this. I can put a chat box up if anybody has any quick questions. Stop sharing. Give me 2 seconds to try and find my. All right, I did stick a chat box in there. I hope you can see that. And if anybody has any questions, you can go ahead and put the chat them in the chat box. I do have my Twitter handle is @Molly Aschoff. And so if you want to, once you create that, follow that. I'm happy to follow you. And if you already have a Twitter handle, you can type it in there if you'd like, or just start letting people know. And I hope that this was helpful. I hope you try and grow your professional network through Twitter and TweetDeck. Thank you.